All right, welcome back everyone. It has been a long time since I made a video. I'm starting to gear up here again to make videos regularly. We have a lot of stuff for C and C++ coming up. We have, using the Raspberry Pis to program. We have graphical user windows that we're going to do, our interfaces, and we're going to do some hardware programming, and then a lot of application of those three things. But it's come to my conclusion that not everybody has a Raspberry Pi. And even though I'll be focusing on those, I'm also going to make some videos on how you can do those in other operating systems. So you can still do GUI and some hardware programming on any system. And so this is actually a fresh install of Windows. And when you have a fresh install of Windows, you run into an issue. So I'm pulling up my command prompt here. And if you've used C++ before, you know that you need, G++, which is from GNU. And you notice that it's not there. And even if I go to the PowerShell, which is another thing that Windows has, and I type in G++, I'm going to get the same exact issue, right? There actually are no tools on Windows by default like you would get on Linux or Mac, okay? Now, I have already installed Visual Studio Code, but I want to show you what I found to be the best instructions for getting C and C++ on your computer. All right, I've seen a lot of people go the MinGW route. It just kind of looked, I don't know, I never felt comfortable downloading that. So if you're at VS Code and you download for Windows, you install that. The next step is when you go to the docs and you see that they have a comprehensive guide here for how to use C++. Okay, and so I'm going to go down to GCC on Windows. All right. So obviously you need to install VS Code. I have done it in the background. You can just download that here and follow the instructions. You will want to install the C and C++ extension. And then here, you're going to get the latest version of MinGW-W64 via MSystem2, right? This I found to be a workable solution and not as shady as some of the other places that everyone was recommending to download G++ from. All right, so I'm basically going to follow these instructions. I've already done them and they work really, really well. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is click here, or you know what? I'm going to click here to download the MS download. There it is. There we go. It's actually a really interesting way when you see it done here, okay? So, wow, that's really small. But you can see I'm just using the default system folder. There's nothing really that I'm going to customize about this, and it's going to go ahead and install. While that's installing, this happened to me several times, those pop-ups. I'm going to go back and read the instructions here, okay? We're going to install this installer, all right? And then we're going to go to their webpage to follow their instructions. Their instructions are pretty lengthy, but it wasn't too bad. Now, you could have downloaded it from here. I just got mine directly from VS Code. We're running the installer. That's happening now. We entered in the appropriate destination folder, which is what it was defaulted to. And when that's done, it's going to ask us to run. And what you're going to see when you run that is basically what looks like another bash window. Okay. All right. After that, there's a set of instructions here. And I like that they have the output because it really gives you a good idea of what it's going to look like. And so you're going to type pacman, -syu here. Let me just make this a little bit bigger. Man, it has been a while since I made videos, right? And then you're going to run pacman.su, which is a little bit different from the previous command, right? And then you'll run this long one, which is really going to install everything that you need, okay? All the systems, GCC, make everything, okay? And then that'll be it. So let's see where our system installer is at. Okay. There we go. Awesome, that was perfect timing. So then it says run MSystem2 64-bit, so I'm going to do that. And I'm going to follow these instructions. So the first one here was Pac-Man. Let's see, we got Pac-Man, capital SYU. And one thing I did notice when using this is there was always a delay every single time after Pac-Man. You could see that's probably because it's synchronizing. It's just not giving you that output. Okay. And we do want to proceed with the installation. Awesome. To complete this update, all process include terminal will be closed. Yes, we don't want to do that. Okay, and then you see it kind of closes out here, right? That's exactly, like the first time I did this, I was like, wait a minute, aren't I supposed to type more commands? But it is going to close out. You're actually going to have to go run it again. So if you see your search bar at the bottom, you're just going to type in MSYS, and you can already see it pop up. So we're going to open that again. All right, and this time we're going to do the second command, Pacman -SU, capital S, and we're going to run this again. Again, you can kind of see that delay. This one's a little bit shorter. And it probably will close out, if memory serves, another time after this install. But if you look, you can see, you know, a lot of these packages that are being installed, this is the good stuff here. Okay, you can see curl, which is like command line feature for, you know, networking, downloading files, nano, wget. I mean, this is kind of helping our environment feel a little bit more like Linux would feel. And then a lot of these libraries, you got OpenSSL, pretty good stuff. Okay. Now, while this is going back, I didn't do anything in Visual Studio Code yet, so I didn't set up those extensions that they asked for. So I'm going to go and do that. When you're in VS Code, you just click these blocks right here. And the C and C++ can be really popular option. The other one I really like is if you just type terminal and you pick this top one here. Okay, you can see, look, I mean, there's barely any versions of this, right? It's just perfect. What's cool about this is when you have a program and you save it, so let me just make a default here. Okay. And let's just do a simple hello world. And I'm going to save this to the desktop. We'll just call it hello.cpp. All right. Yeah, of course this isn't going to work yet, right? When you right click here, open an integrated terminal, that extension that we just installed, let's look at that. It just automatically changed directory to where our file is. I find that to be super helpful. And here again, you can see that G++ is not going to work there. But this is all set up now. We installed the C and C++. Let's go back to getting this to go. So it did stay open this time, which is good. Now we're at step 7. We need to type that longer command. I know you can just copy and paste it. I'm just so used to typing it. And make sure before you press enter, you just go back and make sure everything you typed in was correct. Because with these super long statements, it's really easy to misspell it. And it looks good. This one by far is going to take the longest. As you can see, you know, the last one we had was what? Yeah, 40, you know, megabytes. I can never remember how to say that. This one is way bigger in the gigabyte range, right? And if you notice it's asking enter a selection, just do all for these, or excuse me, just press enter. Enter will give you all. And you're going to have to do a couple of them and proceed with the installation. All right, this one's going to take a long time. Our VS Code set up, so I'm most likely just going to forward through this until it's done. All right, that actually took quite a few time or quite a while there. All right. Okay, so now it says to start building using the MinGW, close this window and run it from the start menu. And now you can make calls to make in GCC, right? That would be in this window right here. In order to actually get this where we want it, we have to do a few more tweaks. So we're actually going to go back to, that's in the way here. Kind of go back to VS Code's, yeah, let's go back to VS Code's documentation. And we're going to go back to where it says GCC on Windows. And if you could see after step 3, getting, that on your system, that was just the first part. We need to add it to your path. Your path basically means that when you type, G++ in the command, it knows where to find where G++ actually is, so that you don't have to type the whole path to it every single time. So the way we're going to do this is in the Windows search bar. We're going to open our settings. So we'll just type settings here. So lower that size, okay. And then, there we go. Search for edit environment variables in your computer. There it is. All right, and then choose the path variable. That's the one we want. And we're going to click edit, okay? And then select new. And you're gonna wanna add the destination that we set. So you saw when I said mine was super small, it was hard to see. If you use the default one, then the one they recommend down here is the exact one that you need. So I'm gonna go C, and then I'm going to use the backslash, which is kind of like the escape sequence, not the regular slash with the question mark, the one under delete. You go MSYS 64 backslash again, MinGW 64 backslash again, bin. All right. And then make sure you typed it correctly, press OK. And so that would have saved it. So now you need to reopen any consoles for the new path. Okay. This should be it. Our VS Code at this point should work. However, if you remember this one right here, this was open before I installed it. So I need to close that. I need to open a new one. And G++ should work now. And it didn't. Interesting. Let's go with the restart on Visual Studio Code and see if that makes a difference there. Let's try that. And there it is, okay? A little worried there for a second, right? So make sure you just close out Visual Studio Code entirely. And I know if you watch my other videos, you're going to see me type ls a lot. In the PowerShell, ls works. In the command prompt, it doesn't, but notice how we did get our compiled file. If you see in most of my videos, I always end up typing a.out, but the Windows computers make an a.exe. So instead of doing this, you just do a.exe for an executable, and we see our LO printout. So this is exactly what we wanted to see. You now have C and C++ on your computer. You have the compiler. You have all the build tools, Visual Studio installed. It's all good to go. All right, so I hope you enjoyed this video, and there is a lot more to come. Thank you.